I'm so sorry. Oh, I don't actually really like Bugfast. I was just doing it for the bit. Actually, I am testing out some format here, but honestly, I'm not sure if I like it because I have to wear makeup and we'll see how long that lasts. Probably will actually because I'm so insecure. Hi, I'm April, or Prildork if you like. Known for many things such as not knowing what type of eyeliner suits my face, or being the loud girl that starts a fight at a bar for no reason. I also ask my cat if he's having the usual every time I give him breakfast. Always a classic. Anyway, I'm honouring you with my dulcet tones today because a certain consort of mine pointed out that I don't have a clear narrative in my videos, so sounds fake, but okay. So here I am, completely clearly and frankly, in a completely non-petty way, giving you a narrative and making it more clear because I forget people are stupid. Anyway, I digress. In this escapade, we go and check out Edinburgh, or Edinburgh as you Americans like to call it. Specifically to a graveyard that has a dark past and a supposed poltergeist. Emma and Alice are both from Edinburgh. Peter's from Perth, just knows things, history mostly. So they got a lot of shit to say. I will be here to fill in the blanks of the rabid, unintelligent fact throwing that you're about to watch. Subscribe to me! Where are we going today?
Oh! Greyfriars Kirkyard.
Greyfriars Kirkyard.
Oh. So this was a flesh market. It was where they used to sell all the kind of like pigs, and it's like basically just a butcher street. So there's bits, I can't see any right now, but kind of there's like dents in a lot of these stairs.
Oh yeah, like in the middle here?
Yeah, like down here. Where they used to,
for the blood?
The blood to flow down this, yeah.
Look, fuck Boris. You love to see it.
Hang on, I'm gonna die.
This is your idea? Emma was like, we should go up Flesh Market because there's a rich history.
Look at that.
That's pretty good. That's comedy gold right there.
It was a big thing in Edinburgh if you were like a goth or alternative. Everybody either had a tattoo of piercing by Tails, and he was such a legend. And me and Becca were like skipping down Coburn Street. This 50-year-old guy, bald, like had like the double beacon thing. He went to piercings and stuff, and he saw us skipping, and he was like, "I'm going to join in," and he just like skipped down with us. He was the best.
Remember I was telling you about they used to nail people's tongues to a pole?
So they don't still have this pole here, I take it?
No, it's got
What pole are you talking about?
So I was here once and the guy said that if people were arrested for talking shit like slander, they used to nail their tongue to a pole in here.
Fucking lazy ass sculptors modelled, and then 51 years later then it was cast.
Well, it's not the sculptor's fault, the sculptor did all the hard work.
I don't know. Nah, it's pretty close.
Let's see you make a big 6-foot tall horse now.
What, if I had 51 years?
Dude, that's where a lot of witches got burned up there and people got hung and stuff.
Really?
Where, yeah, found out to be a witch, that was where the pyres were, and a lot of like public hangings and stuff. And there was a big thing where basically Edinburgh had this huge overpopulation problem because even though it's a huge city, it was just these little streets here. So everyone was just piling on top of each other, and like the way that they solved this was people lived down in the vaults, but then if you were unemployed, that was illegal. So you didn't have a job, they would just kill people.
It was illegal to be homeless basically?
Yeah, so they would just like hang people for being poor because they were like, well, that's how we deal with the population. And people would go outside the churches and be like, we're being killed by like the law here and you need to help us, like we need to seek sanctuary, and the churches just shut their doors and was like, you better die then.
And nothing's changed.
Well, because it's like they're going to start finding homeless people for sleeping on the streets now.
How we're just going back to our roots.
I know, right?
Oh, well, I don't know if you can film her, but this woman held the world record for having the most amount of piercings ever.
Oh, it's her! Oh my god.
Well, Mary Christmas is quite commercial.
Is it?
Yeah, it's all full of like, yeah, so like Mary King's is more like a museum, so you go down and they've like redone the houses as it would be, and they've redone like the streets as it would be back then.
The guy like threw his fake rats at you.
Yeah, so
oh,
it's a bit,
for fuck's sake, that's so tacky.
This was actually like one of the streets that they built the bridges in Edinburgh, so you go down south and north of the bridge, it isn't really actually a bridge apart from one little bit, but what happened was, again, because Edinburgh got so overpopulated, it used to be a big huge lock in Princes Street street gardens, things like that. Then they built over that, and then instead of just keeping the bridge as it is, they just built over it to make more city.
Right.
And all the arches and the bridges then just became rooms, and they used to make them into, it was like basically places where merchants went, so they would have like wine cellars and food cellars and things like that. And yeah, people would have businesses down there, but you weren't necessarily living down there. But then when the Irish famine happened and poverty started getting really bad, people just started living down there, so they would employ watchmen and things to like try and get people out, but then eventually just kind of gave up and everyone lived down there, but so many people died all the time.
So is there still like bodies? Well, skeletons down there?
Yeah.
Is it sort of like the catacombs deal or something?
Yeah, definitely. There is actually one bit where you go into a room and it's just like a normal square room. Then one of the corners is just like cut off. I was like, there's something not quite right about that corner. This is weird. Why is this tour guide bringing us into this room? And then the guy was like, why is this room different than all the other rooms, guys? And I was like, the corners. And it's because when they were like making the place more safe and stuff, they opened up this wall and they found the body of a little girl in there.
Oh.
Just like in the wall.
So they think that like she was murdered by someone and then they basically put her in the wall and then bricked it up.
They also used to brick people up in the plague, so anyone who lived down there or anywhere really. Who
Edinburgh got hit really hard by the plague, didn't it?
Everyone was on top of each other, and now the height of Edinburgh is like half the height it used to be. Edinburgh was like the first place that had like skyscrapers.
Really?
So things like, but they didn't build them very well, so they met in the middle. So you'd walk down places like Flesh Market Close and you'd be in pitch black, and all the things just kind of fell into each other.
So there was no sunlight and
no
People
houses.
at the top, because it was all like wood and stuff, it was said that you could like feel your house swaying.
And they used to have like oil lanterns, and if any, and it was all straw. Everything was just straw in the carpet.
so there was so many fires.
So many people died.
Could you imagine that? Like you just like wake up in your bed and you're like, oh, whose fucking candle? Who done it? You would start a fire. You would leave your candle up.
There was as many people living in Edinburgh back in the day as there is now. There was this thing called the Flodden Wall built, and basically it was built to keep the English out, but they spent so much money on building it that by the time it was done, they had no money to police it or send soldiers there. So what happened was the locals were like, I'm not gonna let all this lovely stone go to waste. And so they kind of like trashed all these bits of the wall. But all that it did is it meant for hundreds of years, all the residents of Edinburgh would build their housing within this 1.5 mile radius.
Right.
So that's why hundreds of thousands of people lived in this tiny, tiny bit of Edinburgh. That's why it's called, because it was considered
Old stank, and everyone used to just chuck their like feces down the ground. There was 1 hour of the day. This is the heart of Midlothian. So what this is, everyone spits in it, so you can see there's like spit still on it. It's a tradition that if you go past it, you're meant to spit on it, because this was where they kept prisoners, especially like the drunk tank.
Okay.
It was open, so like you would just see the prisoners.
I thought it was where the gallows.
I don't really want to spit on it then.
No, that's pretty alright.
I mean, it was the jail, right?
This does look like a square that you'd like hang people in though, if I'm going to be honest.
The one market, like they hung people here, and then people would spit on there for like spit on the prisoners.
Then there was also a big like French-Scottish connection with like trade and stuff
Yeah,
as well.
there was.
So they used to have a lot of French wine.
Alright.
Burgundy and stuff, like the Scots fucking loved French wine. Before whiskey was like the big Scottish drink, it was like
Wait,
French, it was wine.
where's my wine from in my bag?
Ah, Blossom Hill, yes. Well,
Le Chateau de Blossom.
Oh jeez, that was it. It says bottled in Middlesex.
Middlesex.
Ah, Middlesex.
English wine.
But see how there's a big hill down there? So where Princess Street Gardens is now used to be a big loch. So people would dump all their sewage that way, so it would just run into the loch.
Oh, gross.
And they would, if you were accused of witchcraft, you were drowned in the loch.
In that pool loch?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, they either burned them up at Merkin Cross or chucked them in the Norloch. Google Maps does not work in Edinburgh, because your maps could tell you to be here, but you could be on that street, you could be a little bit further down that street, because it's all just on levels. So yeah, this is Elephant House, where J.K. Rowling apparently wrote Harry Potter, because if you see at the back here, that cafe goes all the way there and looks out onto the graveyards where J.K. Rowling got a lot of the names. So Elephant Cafe was like, oh, she wrote it here, but every cafe around this bit claims that church. Sorry, this is Bobby.
Don't worry about describing him. I've got tons of.
I just knows it pisses me off so much.
How?
Why? Because it's not an actual thing, and then some tour just started telling everyone it was good luck, and it started like wearing.
But look at it. It looks so cute. This wee legend is Greyfriars Bobby, or Bobby if you're not Scottish. He's known throughout Scotland for his loyalty to his master John Grey, who was the Night's Watchman in Greyfriars Kirk. When Gray died, Bobby waited at his grave for 14 years, waiting for his master to come back, until eventually he died himself on the 14th of January in 1872. He has a grave not far from his beloved master. This isn't really scary, but it's cute as fuck.
Coronavirus! Coronavirus!
Emma! That's
Alright. Shall we go to the kirkyard?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Look, people leave sticks for the dog.
I know,
I know, how cute is that?
age 16, he was an old dog.
What's greyfriars Bobby gonna do with money?
You know why there's a rowan tree over there?
A what?
A rowan tree, see that one?
A rowan tree!
The one with the red berries. It's because
The one with the red berries!
they plant them in graveyards to keep the witches away.
Is that right?
A lot of the people buried here were the ones that they had bells and stuff because they accidentally buried a lot of people alive back in the day. They also used to have like bars and stuff because all the body snatchers came to this graveyard.
Oh, right.
People like Birkenhair and other body snatchers. Yeah, this place is like gnarly, I love it.
That's horrifying. Is that what you're talking about,
Yeah.
cages? So is this like a plague cage?
No, I think that was more to stop body snatchers.
Oh, that's what I meant.
Basically, because we used to break into these really, really easily. And this is bloody Mackenzie's tomb, who, if you want to get into it, he was
Yeah, get into it.
one of the right hands of the king, and
A horrible bastard. George Mackenzie was a lawyer and the Lord Advocate during the rule of Charles II, and quickly earned a reputation as one of the most vicious persecutors of the Covenanters, the people who rose up and signed the National Covenant in 1638. Mackenzie's brutal, unfeeling treatment of the protesters even earned him the moniker Bloody Mackenzie. He would take glee in torturing the prisoners, mentally and physically, callously murdering men, women and children. In total, he was single-handedly responsible for the death of around 18,000 people during the 8-year period. He died at Westminster, of course he did, in 1691 and was buried in Greyfriars Kirkyard, not far from the site of his atrocities. Fuck! In 1999, a homeless man sought shelter in Mackenzie's mausoleum and fell through the floor. More recently, in 2004, a duo of teens broke into the tomb and removed a number of unidentified remains, even beheading one corpse and using the skull like a hand puppet. Yo, what the fuck? After all these disturbances to the tomb, the legend of the Mackenzie Poltergeist was born. Nearly 500 visitors have claimed to suffer mysterious assaults at the graveyard. Many have ended up with bruises, burns, lacerations or gouge marks, and some have reported the sensation of being choked. Others suffer blackouts or are overwhelmed by nausea. Still more report odd sounds such as pounding or knocks. An exorcism at the mausoleum was attempted in 2000 by Colin Grant, the minister of a spiritualist church. Grant said he felt the presence of hundreds of tormented souls and most certainly the presence of evil. Eventually he left Greyfriars in distress. A few weeks later, he was found dead of a heart attack. A common piece of advice offered by ghost tours is not to attempt to taunt or agitate the Mackenzie Poltergeist, given its history of harming those who do. Saw dude! Hello!
He was a genocide man.
I think he'd appreciate a little bit of wine, that's all I'm saying.
but he doesn't. He committed genocide.
Right, so this is the camp, right?
Yeah, the Covenanters prison.
Covenanters.
Oh, sorry. So this was where Mackenzie just like brutally killed and massacred children, women,
Oh, look, a squirrel.
people. Often, like, you know, kind of more working class people and stuff as well, because they're the ones
Why
that are more
is he
like
buried
Catholic.
right next to them? That's bullshit.
Because this was like the one graveyard that Edinburgh had back then.
So everyone got 4 ounces of bread a day and they had no shelter, so they were literally just locked in there.
The reason it's locked is because like so much weird shit started happening to people and things. They had to. The council had to lock it after a certain point because
For paranormal activity?
apparently, yeah, that's what they said.
I'm gonna
So
give...
the people who survived this prison were then put on a ship to America, and then the ship capsized like by Orkneys. They probably would have been, yeah, like tobacco
I gave them
colonies.
more, Mackenzie got way less. Makes me really sad.
Yeah, it's a really sad piece of history, to be honest.
And one that's never taught either. Like, I found it out from you.
Was that like the English region, maybe? Like English, like labourers in England or something?
Hey guys.
Who left a fucking Magnum here? Oh no, it's Fox Crunches.
That's fine then.
That's fine.
So this is the Flodden Wall, and basically you can see a lovely plaque. Let me just remind myself of the year.
She's just gonna read out the plaque. So all this, everything in here. What do you mean?
Round down there, and then back up here. It's basically like a mile and a half.
So it's kind of what circles the graveyard, right?
Well, it goes down past the graveyard. For ages, people would only build their house inside the wall. That's not allowed to take my antidepressants. That's why as many people live in Edinburgh now, lived in much smaller areas. Like Alice was saying, you would get 5-6 story houses and then it would go 3-4 floors down into the ground as well. There was just a fuck ton of people cutting about.
Right, should we go see this J.K. Rowling push?
There you go, McGonagall.
Can someone else take this camera because I can't stop hiccuping?
William McGonagall!
Whoa! But yeah, that's I think what Professor McGonagall, she got the name.
Yeah. Tragedy in
I want that on my grade.
Just a tragic Ian Beale.
I got nothing left. Oh, there's Riddle, that's it.
Tom Riddle. Who likes Harry Potter?
Someone's actually written there.
Who likes Harry Potter that much to seal a huge gravestone like that because it says Sirius on
I can
it?
see. Oh, so there we go.
Sirius
Plate
Black.
stolen.
Plate
Sirius
stolen.
Black.
But wait, you're probably wondering, April, what happened to you? Well, clearly I lived. I'm alive. Didn't die. Alive.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
I know you might not believe anything I say about what didn't or did happen to me after I pissed off a poltergeist, but I actually do have a first-hand witness for what happened, and you will see that now. Hello, sir? Sir, are you available for comment, sir? Please? So I pissed out my ass for about 3 days straight, I think. Extreme nausea, stomach cramps, something awful. Just generally feeling really unwell and crappy. Which is actually a really common side effect of going near Mackenzie. So, you know, it could have been that, or it could have been the 2 bottles of cheap wine that I had, half a bottle of rum and quarter of gin, made by monks. I don't have a drinking problem. You know, so poltergeist, hangover, I'm not sure which one I want to believe. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more like it, excuse me, sir. Stop! If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more like it, please say something in the comments, give us some places you might want us to go, or, you know, just be a support, man, you know? Gonna get a Patreon soon, so maybe I can afford to film not beside my manky walls and afford food. Oh, and one last thing. Someone told me not long ago that I should stop posting about Black Lives Matter in my videos and that they don't want to see it. To which I say, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Stephon Clark, Botham Jean, Philando Castile, Tamir Rice, Atlon Sterling, Freddie Gray, and many, many more. While these names are primarily American, the UK isn't innocent either. A black person in the UK is twice as likely to die in custody than any other ethnicity. Sign petitions, donate to bail funds, protect the BIPOC people in your life. Give them your kindness. Like, I mean, fuck, they need it, right? And be kind to yourself. And if you don't like that, then you can smell your moth!